Everest Live, how's it going? It's Friday, May 15th from the Everest Live studio tent here at Everest Base Camp. Not a whole ton happening on the mountain today, simply because we're in that period of bad weather up high. While it's beautiful down here at Base Camp, the winds up at the summit are quite high right now, and and climbers are all now positioning themselves to go for a long run of summits. It looks like we have a clear weather window from the 17th to the 22nd or 23rd and beyond. As we're looking at the longer range forecasts here, the weather is looking incredible. Maybe the first real break we've had this season where the mountain and the conditions seem to be welcoming to the 492 climbers who are trying to make their way to the top of the world this year. Thanks everybody for joining us on our live dispatch. For those of you who are watching this after, if you'd like to see these things live as they happen, you can join our Base Camp VIP membership, and you can have a VIP Base Camp experience without having to freeze your tail off here at Base Camp like we are. So in terms of stories, things to tell, just in terms of updates on the mountain, we've just talked about the weather. Basically, what we're going to see tonight, there's kind of like the first wave of climbers are already at Camp 2. Some are at Camp 3, right? So the climbers that are getting to Camp 3 now, it's the 15th. They're going to push up to Camp 4 on the 16th and then try to summit on the 17th. But the weather doesn't seem to be good till the afternoon of the 17th. So there's a little bit of jockeying amongst those teams. They may hold back in Camp 2 for a little bit. But come the 17th and the 18th, we're going to see this first big wave of summits. And all of those climbers are already up on the mountain getting themselves in position. There's a lot of big groups up there, a lot of Chinese and Indian teams, which tend to travel in kind of a single pack. It's going to be exciting when that kicks off. And then tonight, today's the 15th. So tonight we're seeing kind of the second wave of climbers that are aiming for like the 20th or the 21st. Those climbers are all going to be leaving Base Camp now as well. So they'll head up tonight. It's 15th. They get to Camp 2. 16th, maybe they spend a night at Camp 2. 17th, Camp 3. 18th, Camp 4. 19th to the summit. We're just starting to see everybody moving towards the mountain to take this 4 or 5 day journey up to the top. And then, it takes 2 days for them to get back down safely to Base Camp. So it's kicking off. You're going to have to put up with me sort of making stuff up for a day or two as the weather's bad. But then once things change on the 17th, it's going to be totally no holds barred. It's going to be very exciting. Last night, I didn't sleep very much. The reason for that being is I was listening to the radio and talking to various people. And some of you may remember how yesterday we talked about the 3 climbers were the only 3 climbers to make it to the summit yesterday. There was 2 high altitude workers from Nepal and 1 client from China. As of midnight last night, those climbers had not returned to Camp 4. And so there was quite a bit of tension, in Base Camp and amongst the radio and amongst people who monitor this kind of stuff, the Nepali government representatives, about where these climbers were. And just kind of stayed up listening to, we were kind of all honestly fearing the worst, thinking that perhaps they'd gotten disoriented, perhaps that they had run out of oxygen, maybe that they died. But thankfully, early hours of the morning, they returned to Camp 4. And one of the team members, one of the Nepali workers, had pretty severe snow blindness. But the last I've heard is they've made their way back down to Camp 3. They're making their way down to safety. So that was a good news, but it sort of also illustrates how quickly things can go sideways up on Mount Everest. I was talking today to different people about how, especially on the South Col, which is where Camp 4 is, it's this big wide open plain with a tiny little pocket of tents in the middle. So if you're exhausted coming off a 24, 26, 28 hour summit push that these people were undergoing, and the weather changes or it's dark at night, you can literally wander around on this plateau for hours without finding the tents, even though you're maybe only 10 or 15 feet away. It's a really intense situation. Thankfully, nobody got hurt. and hopefully this isn't the kind of thing we're going to see more of. But the numbers are, we probably are going to see some more stuff like this in the coming days. So stay tuned. Not a whole lot else to update. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Bianca's going blue layer. Kristen Harila is heading up on the 16th to Lhotse. That's the only team that I know about. It's Kristen and then a bunch of other teams. I think there's some folks from 8K, Gesman, Tamang, who's another climber who's just starting up his business. He's bringing some clients up to Nuptse. They're all moving together in a group. Oh, and from Asian Trekking as well. They're moving up together in a group to climb Nuptse, which is not an 8,000 meter peak, but technically it's a much, much harder climb. I'm not sure why they're pushing on the 16th, given the weather forecast. Maybe Nuptse is low enough that the wind, it's out of the winds for there. That's their decision. But for that, they have to climb up a really steep ridge. And then the final summit push on Nuptse, you're literally like on top of a little hobby horse. Like you have to scooch across this ridge for a few hundred meters with 8,000 foot drop on either side of you to get to the summit. So hopefully we'll know by the 17th how Kristen did. Her plan is to do Nuptse, come back down, and then go right up to do Lhotse without oxygen. Wishing her the best and everybody else who's up there. So today we have a very special guest, somebody who you have heard breathing for the whole season, but haven't seen a ton of, except for that one moment when he became the funniest person on the internet and talked about how I flew a drone into my moneymaker. But I thought that today, since it's a somewhat slow news day, it's a chance for you guys to get to know Andy, ask him some questions. But we're also going to talk about sort of a first-timer's perspective of what it's like to live at Everest Base Camp, what it's like to live at altitude for as long as Andy has. And I think it's going to be really kind of enlightening. So without further ado, my great friend, business partner, colleague, cinematographer, editor, humorist.
What a huge fall from grace this is. Yesterday we had, 31 summiter of Everest, Camry Reader Sherpa, and now you have heavy breather Andy. So, it's great to be on my own show.
Everyone has their own talent. So if you have any questions, throw them into the comments, but, I'll kick it off by just saying, Andy, like, before you met me, you had zero experience at high altitude.
Absolutely. None.
And so you and I went and made a film about snow leopards in Dolpo, which is in far western Nepal, where I dragged Andy up about 5,000 meters for a long time. But we were always on the move, and we weren't at altitude for the amount of time that we've been here this time.
No.
Has it been different for you on the trek up to base camp and the time that you've stayed here, just in terms of like your physical body? How has it felt for you to go through what you've gone through this trip?
Yeah, well, I think my expectations so low on what this experience would be like and how tough it would be, what we'd be eating, how we'd be sleeping, and maybe that was how you treated me on our last trek. I don't know. So like everything's been a pleasant surprise, but like it's also been really, really tough. It's been very tough. Like we've been here, we left on the 23rd, left Kathmandu, so it's been about 3 weeks now. And our altitude has been, we trekked for about 6 days, 7 days, acclimatizing until we got to base camp. And the reason I'm constantly out of breath is because I am constantly out of breath. Like, you wake up in the morning and you take 10 steps and I need to stop and like holding a camera behind, trying to record you is a lot of work, So yeah, I mean, it is tough. It feels like each day you have less energy.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how well or how poorly you sleep, but to be honest, you sleep poorly. I can't remember the last time I had a good night's sleep. Waking up, out of breath, waking up cold, waking up like I'm a mouth breather, so like my like mouth like freezes over and just goes like hard, and you're just like, I need some water. So yeah, all these terrible things that happen in the night, as well as hearing avalanches, rock fall.
Having the front of your tent collapse this morning.
I mean, I can barely get in my tent anymore.
One of the things that's happening here is as the season moves, this happens every season, but as the spring moves on, the temperatures get warmer and the glacier starts to melt out from underneath our tents. So like we're not spending a whole lot of time on this side of the production tent because it's basically a huge hanging serac and we would tumble down into the glacier if we did. And so Andy, you know, with all that, you've mentioned some of the hardships.
Yeah.
What's been better or easier about this experience than you expected?
I don't think I expected to eat as well as I've eaten. Like, you know, it's a 3-course meal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
I've never eaten as much fruit as I thought I'd eat at base camp. You know, I think that's a lot to say with, you know, we're staying at Arnold Costa and Seven Summits Trek that, you know, we kind of did pick this place knowing that he was going to put on a good spread.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, you know, I was expecting to probably lose weight. I think I have lost weight, but I think I'll probably maybe start putting it on the kind of how I become less active day by day. So that's been that's been a really good surprise. You know, just all the people. I mean, every day, you know, you do drag me to places, but to meet these people who have amazing stories. And everyone has a crazy story. Everyone's here to do something great, and it's inspiring. When I say it's inspiring, it hasn't inspired me to ever want to climb Everest, but like the stories you hear are inspiring. So that is, you know, and that's why we're here. We're here to tell you stories.
Yeah, 100%. We went this afternoon and met a guy who is a part of a company that is making down suits out of human hair. So that was it. You're going to hear more about it, Leonardo, in coming updates. Shout out to you, Leonardo. Thank you for the saffron tea. We had a great time. But it's like you can't like walk anywhere without stumbling across somebody who has this story that seems like it's something out of science fiction.
Absolutely.
It's quite amazing.
Absolutely.
So, whoa, Andy has an accent. Where is he from?
I live in London in the UK. I've lived in London for about 20 years. We're coming up to 20 years. So I'm very much a city boy who is now being taken to the mountains. Which means if I can do it, I would say that most people can do it. So if you've got any dreams of coming to Everest Base Camp, you should. The trek up here was amazing. Yeah, I mean, I've got plenty of, you know, advice to give. Take Diamox. I think that's kept me alive.
Yeah.
Walk slowly. Drink a hell amount of water. How much water did I drink on the way up here?
You drank like 8 liters a day.
Yeah. And I think it made me better for it. I mean, I was peeing all the time, but like it was worth it. Yeah. It kept me healthy.
Totally. 100%. So Andy, what has surprised you the most about Everest Base Camp?
I think the first thing that surprised me is that you can't see Everest.
Fair point.
I was like, oh, cool, we've got to Everest Base Camp. Where's Everest? And you're like, oh, you have to go up the Kumbo Icefall. It's then like turn a left, and then it's like, you know, another up at 6,000, you know, another 2,000 meters you have to climb. And I was just like, oh, cool. Like, I wish I'd paid more attention when I could have seen Everest on the trek up, which I think I took one picture of it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to see it every day. This will be fine. How big base camp is, like it's huge. It will take an hour or so to walk from one side to the other. So that's a surprise. What else? It's surprising how hot it can get, and it's surprising how freezing it can get. You can have those two extremes in one day.
Within an hour.
Like you'd be wearing a t-shirt, which sounds weird, but you can. And then the sun goes down, or like a cloud comes, and you have to put on like 10 layers. And you have to do that very quickly. So that's also been very surprising. The days when it's sunny and you can wear a t-shirt and a jumper, I'll have more of those, please.
Yeah, they're coming.
Okay.
We've got a big stretch of them coming up ahead. Are you picking up the lingo? How's your Nepali coming?
Tashi Dele?
That's Tibetan.
Oh.
Or Sherpa.
Okay.
But you picked it up. It works. It totally works here.
I learned that from our last trek.
Yeah.
I thought that was enough. That's around about it, I'd say.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're doing great.
Well, I mean, it's one of those, I guess it's disappointing when like everyone speaks English here, and quite a lot of the Sherpas speak English because obviously like they have to speak to clients. And I guess it's just one of those things of being a terrible English person that you just never feel the need to learn another language.
I mean, I would also say that the thing about Andy's life here too is like, you guys always see me like taking selfies, running around, like meeting people, doing journalism, right? Like my life here is pretty active. I'm like going and like doing pre-interviews with people. I'm figuring out what we're going to do next. I'm trying to cajole Kami Rita Sherpa into coming down to a live thing with us. Like I'm bouncing around, but a lot of your time, Andy, is like, we're doing all of our editing, processing, thumbnails, comments, all that stuff is happening from Basecamp, which is either a sauna or a freezer. And so Andy has also spent a lot of time just working, like buried in your laptop. So you really don't have time. I'm going to give you some credit. Okay. You don't have time to like do the like crash course in basic Nepali.
No. That's fair. I mean, we are working, even the hours when you're not sleeping because you're like gasping for air, we are working 24/7 to bring Everest Live to the people with such limited resource. But like, it's also really fun doing that, and getting to engage with our audience and finding cool stories like River's story. So it's worth it.
And so last question for you, Andy. We'll kind of keep it short tonight. I'm gonna.
I mean, no one needs to hear more from me.
They're gonna ask for it, and we'll have some more exciting people coming to speak with us tomorrow.
Absolutely, but way more exciting.
We have some really exciting interviews lined up for tomorrow, but we're gonna tell you about those then. No, but Andy, like, I guess my last question for you is, for me, I've lived here in Nepal for 28 years. I've been involved in the Everest industry pretty much that whole time. So this has been something that's always been a big part of who I am, right?
Yeah.
And you've come into this with a background in sports production. You've worked on World Cups. You've worked on the Olympics. You've worked on stuff from a very different side of the business. I want to ask you about, now that you've been in Basecamp for, 3 weeks, now that you've been a part of this world, what do you see the future of Everest Live being? And what do you see the importance of our mission being? You know what I mean? Do you see like what we're trying to do differently now that you're here experiencing it?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're trying to bring the truth. I think there's a lot of people who, and myself included, had, misconceptions of what Everest is. And like, there is those things of like, it's a garbage dump, it's this, it's that, it's people trying to kill themselves. And it's just totally not. Like, it's just really not any of these things. So like, I think if we can kind of give people a glimpse into what it really is and who these people are, Sherpas and climbers, and change the conception of the armchair Everest fan. Like, there still is problems. Yeah, there is garbage problems, but the people are doing great things to fix it.
Yeah, 100%.
And we're trying to shed a light on that. And I think that's really important. And if we can shed a light on that and grow that aspect of it, of the people who are doing good work here, then it's entirely worth it.
100%. I totally agree with that. I think also, Andy, that truth that we're trying to put out there, the misconceptions about Everest, are people are missing the chance to be inspired.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that those misconceptions get in the way of the real, like, we're talking about the people that we're meeting here and the vibe at Basecamp. It's really inspiring.
Yeah.
And that's something I think that we hope we can share. And we hope that that's something we can continue to do for years and years to come. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Short dispatch today, but coming up tonight at around 2 a.m. Nepal time. Guess who's also not going to sleep well tonight? Me and Andy. 2 a.m. tonight Nepal time, we're going to do a quick live sort of hit where we're saying we're going to be watching Arnold Koster's group. It's a group of these high altitude workers that we've been getting to know over the past 3 weeks. They've become like family to us, and also a group of climbers from all over Europe and North Africa who are heading up to make their summit dreams come true. So we're just going to do a little live thing so you can see what the puja looks like. What's the look on their faces as they're heading up on this epic journey to the top of the world. We're gonna make sure that you guys get to see that in a couple hours from now. So we're gonna go eat dinner and try to take a nap, and we'll be back online shortly. And then we'll be back tomorrow with even more interesting color commentary. And thank you for saying that the people we've covered are inspiring. Honestly, like, I could throw a rock right now and it would hit somebody inspiring. And that's why we're here at Base Camp, and that's why we're trying to bring it to you. Thank you all for tuning in from Seattle and from all over the place. And Benny, come in here. Guys, we have the live broadcast is not over. We have a secret, spontaneous guest.
Is it a live broadcast?
Yeah, and we're going to do an interview with the man, the legend, who just dropped in to see us.
That's
Benny
hilarious.
Lieber. Hey, buddy,
How's it
welcome. Your timing is perfect.
I heard you talking. I figured I was like, I'll just poke my head inside.
So who are you? What are you doing here?
My
As a
name's
means of
Benny.
introduction, yeah.
I'm a guide here on the mountain.
How many times? Yeah, go ahead.
This is my 4th year on the mountain. I'm from Anchorage, Alaska. And yeah, I love it. Yeah.
So Benny, what we wanted to do, I was going to do a sit down with you, but we're just going to do it here right now. Thanks for hanging in, everybody. One of the things that Benny is legendary for, aside from being just like a super awesome dude, is every like cool thing you do in your life, you make a sticker.
I do make a sticker, yes.
And there's such a cool story about that. So do you have a sticker with you?
I don't think I do.
Okay.
I was thinking on the walk I should have brought you some.
Oh, that's all right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. We'll give you some Everest Live stickers as a down payment. But tell us, how did that start?
Yeah. Actually, it started with this, what is now a tattoo.
Okay.
I don't know if we can see that. It's going to be upside down. It's this way. Well, it's kind of hard to see.
Well,
Anyway, I had a mentor. He's this amazing guy named Travis McAlpine, the true king of dirtbags.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the dirtbaggiest of dirtbags. And I lived on his property on the ground as, I guess, even more of a dirtbag.
like you were like in the dirt.
Yeah. In Alaska. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had nothing. I was like living out of my car, and it ended up in his yard, and that's where it still is today, actually. He didn't care what he was wearing. He was missing a tooth, and he was just a brilliant route developer of mixed climbing routes. And I got in on it, and he basically toughened me up. And long story short, we formed this amazing partnership. And not just him, we had a small crew of people. And eventually he passed away in a car accident in February 2023 in Valdez, Alaska. And a lot of us, we were devastated. I mean, I never actually, when we had like his memorial service, I'd never met so many people that considered one person their best friend.
Right.
You know, it was
Right.
like all these people showed up and were like, that was my best friend.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way. And so I made this sticker, and it was it's a fist, you know, that's broken off of the body holding an ice axe, like real kind of hard, man.
Yeah.
And people loved it. It just like I made maybe 300 of them, and they were gone in like an afternoon or something. And so then I thought, like, well, that's pretty cool. Like people can kind of rally behind a sticker, you know? And so I go on a lot of expeditions around the world, and I decided like, oh, I'll start to make some of these, you know, and I never charge people money. It's more of like it's a unique take home from your time on your expedition.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really about me or about making any sort of revenue, or it's just like we're all doing this together.
Yeah.
So now I make one every year, and I wish I had it with me.
You're
but
good.
I have one that's it's a Yeti, and he's ice climbing. He's like this, and he's climbing a Serac, and it says Everest 2026.
Yeah,
That's this year's.
And it's like this in the Everest community, having one of Benny's stickers on your phone, it's like a total status symbol.
Is that true?
100%.
That's hilarious.
100%.
Yeah.
Everybody, the Sherpas, everybody's like walking around me. Like, did you see that there's one on the espresso machine? In the
I
coffee shop?
heard about it.
Yeah,
Somebody sent me a message.
But these things have a life of their own.
Okay, I got to get more of them. I have hundreds in my tent.
Excellent. But that's part of the counterculture here, right? And
Yeah.
and it's really cool to see how your creativity and also the way that you channeled your grief sort of is a part of what brings us all together.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I can imagine, Benny, for you, like, do you think that, here's a hard question, but you've been in this mountain game for a long time. Like, this is who you are.
Yeah.
And you've done a lot of like really big expeditions. You've done a lot of like last year you did some super remote stuff in Western Nepal. And I'm sure you've lost a lot of friends in it. And do you find that sometimes there's this like energy between a way of you have to find a way to channel your grief in a positive way that allows you to keep being who you are? you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I actually have felt like so basically after Travis died, I'll go back to that. I was really beat up, and then I had this like epiphany of like, well, I can't just sit here and hang my head, you know. There's all energy left behind this amazing person that we knew, and we all get to sort of take some of that and use it. And I felt like it, like, you know, like when like Mario like eats the mushroom and he's like, it felt like that. It was wait a minute, like I'm stronger now, you know, like I can do this for the both of us and go live this dream. Because he actually had a welded ankle. He was a pro snowboarder. His ankle got welded together, so he couldn't snowboard anymore. So he became a climber, became an amazing ice and mixed climber. And he said to me one time when I had started going on expeditions in the Himalaya, and he said, like, if my ankle wasn't welded together, I would go with you.
Yeah.
You know, so then after he passed, I thought, like, well, now you can go with me, you know, like we'll do it together.
Yeah, right.
I still climb that way.
And you're still feeling with you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So I think, the mountains are good and bad in a lot of ways, you know, but you have to find a way to channel that.
Yeah.
And use that energy,
100%,
which I think is really important. And that's what those people would want from us. Like my buddy, he wouldn't want me to sit around and sulk. He'd be like, dude, get out there. You know, you got to do it. You know, that was like his whole thing is like, you got to do it.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of too what like keeps us coming back to the mountains is you have to look at that stuff. You have to look at death and grief and your life in a way that's much more serious than you do when you're back at home, like swiping on Instagram.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've kind of felt like the more people we know pass, whether in climbing or that we just knew through climbing and they passed another way, is like, if you're lucky enough to climb, you better do it.
100%.
I mean, yeah.
You got one life.
Yeah. Better than sitting at home. That's for sure.
So then tell us what your climb this year. How many rotations have you done? How you feeling? When you going up? What's it looking like up there?
Yeah, I'm psyched. Yeah. Things are good. Yeah. I just came down from a long rotation. We did a night at Camp 1 and 3 nights at Camp 2 and went up to the Lutzy Face. And we're good. We're psyched. We're hanging right now and eventually we'll go to the top.
Cool. Do you know what time you're targeting? Like late season or?
No.
Wait and see it?
Yeah, not sure yet. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
But it'll be good.
Right on. Well, Benny, there's some people asking, what's your Instagram handle? Because they want to see the images of the stickers and stuff.
Oh, I need to post the images of the stickers more. But my Instagram is Benny Lieb, BennyLieb.
Cool. And we'll post it in the liner notes. All right, everybody. Well,
this is so cool. There's people on here. Thanks for checking in. That's awesome.
Yeah,
wherever you guys are, we're sitting at Mount Everest. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. And this is part of the scene here, everybody. Friends drop in all the time. And thank you all for being a part of our community. We're going to catch you at like 2 a.m. So take care. We're about to go head out and eat some food and maybe take a nap, but probably Benny and I are going to drink a little whiskey. We'll see what happens. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. Your timing was impeccable, buddy.
That's hilarious.